Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first in our series of the future of B2B and e-commerce. My name is Sarah Willcocks. I'm the owner and CEO of Screen Pages Limited. We're an agency based in Surrey. So what I'm going to do first is just give you a bit of an overview of who we are, what we do, and then I'll go into talking about our B2B credentials and what B2B merchants need to think about when considering their e-commerce. After giving you an overview of what's happening in the industry, we'll move on to talking about digital marketing in B2B, which is incredibly important. There's no point in having a really good website if nobody knows about it. So Screen Pages, we've been around for 20 years. We've got a considerable amount of experience in lifestyle fashion and the B2B verticals. All our staff are trained in Magento 1 and Magento 2. And we've built over 300 e-commerce websites since 1997. So I think it's safe to say that we know what we're doing by now. Our e-commerce services include design, build, host, and support, plus consultancy around e-commerce, both in B2B and B2C. And we have over 10 years experience on Magento. Magento itself is a platform which is well suited to B2B merchants because it has a lot of built-in B2B functionality. So to talk a little bit about our credentials in B2B, here's some examples of our clients. And these are people ranging from companies selling ramps to businesses and other people selling sort of air conditioning equipment and safety harnesses for the construction industry. So what's happening in e-commerce in B2B? Basically, merchants are selling to both consumers and businesses to increase market share. So by consumers, these might be small trade customers, but also larger trade customers. So it's incredibly important that you have a website that caters for both. The size of the B2B e-commerce market is fast outpacing B2C. So there's a lot going on in B2C at the moment, but actually it's a fraction of the size of the overall market for B2B. And Forrester Research estimates that the US B2B market will reach $1.2 trillion over the next 5 years. And another company called Frost & Sullivan estimate that the global market will be 6.7 trillion by 2020. So it's safe to say that a digital revolution is upon us. So by 2019, which has already passed, Forrester predicted that manufacturers and wholesalers would account for 30% of the total spending in e-commerce online, and more than 74% of B2B buyers are researching half of their purchases online at the moment. So if they're researching them online, it's safe to say that they probably want to go and proceed to buy them online. The reason they're doing that is 38% are saying that it's more convenient to do it online, 22% say it's faster, and they're used to using their mobile devices, so it stands to reason that they would be going there first to start their research. So what do your B2B customers want? Well, they want pretty much the same as what your B2C or what B2C customers want when shopping online. When you're shopping on Amazon, what do you want? Well, you want things to be easy and fast and convenient for you. So when asked about their priorities, B2B buyers said that having good search functionality, 48% said that was important. Personalization and service recommendations. So they don't want to know about everything you do. They just want to know about what's relevant to them, in the same way that when shopping on Amazon, you see the products that are relevant to you. And they want to do it from their phones because they're on their phones all the time. So they're used to living their lives on their phones, and why wouldn't they want to do that at work as well? Good fulfillment options are really important as well, and I think we've got Amazon Prime to blame for that one. So if you're used to getting things same day or next day, you'd want the same experience when buying for your business. So it's really important that you allow customers to search and find what they want very, very quickly. Give them choices about how they can engage with your business, online, offline, or both, It's not going to be one or the other, in the same way that consumers can buy from a high street retail outlet, but also online. The problem is that many B2B merchants are struggling to deliver these things because many are still basically lacking in the knowledge they need to actually understand how to do e-commerce. They have challenges with executive buy-in. So 36% of these organizations are actually having trouble persuading the management teams and the boards that this is important and it's the future. And they're also having issues with their sales teams, who traditionally are worried about losing their jobs if it's replaced with self-servicing online. And there are also some serious technical challenges because a lot of these businesses have outdated business systems operating in silos with no single view of customer, which causes issues. So to sort of narrow it down to where you should focus your efforts first, we've put together a list of the top 10 things to think about. So first of all, make it easy for your customers. So if you are trade only, make it easy for them to apply for an account with you. How do you do that? Well, you make it easy by allowing them to do it online. They might be happy to phone the call center and do it, but actually, in many cases, they just want to quickly fill out a form online. Give them the ability to set different roles and permissions within their accounts. So they might have people within their business that are allowed to buy from you, but they also might have other people that don't have that sign off on those purchases. So you need to make sure that different people can do different things when they have an account with you. And don't just think about allowing them to do it from their desktop computer. They might want to do it from a building site on their phone. So here's an example of a screenshot from an existing client site. You can see that it's very obvious about how you can create an account online. This is a screenshot from a mobile device. So you also need to not just make it easy for your customers, but easy for your staff, because they're going to have to buy into this whole process. So once somebody's applied for an account online, you need to allow them to approve that online as well. They have to, you need to make sure that your sales reps buy into this process by allowing them to actually see who's applying for accounts online and get communication around that. Allow them to easily view and export customer information or prospect information. So they're still sort of having that input into the buying cycle for those customers. Just because they're applying for accounts online and requesting quotes online does not mean that they don't need any involvement from sales reps. You need to think about streamlining your quoting process. So customers are going to want to, well, phoning you at the moment for quotes, so why not allow them to do that direct from their mobile phones. Once they've asked for a quote, allow them to track the status of that quote and see how long it's going to take you to provide them with a response. And they need to be able to communicate around that quote, and all communication needs to be visible to your sales reps as well, so that there's no sort of disparity between what they're saying and what the customers are seeing online. The other important thing is that you obviously you're used to in B2B having that one-to-one personal touch with sales reps and customers. So it is really crucial that you personalize content for different customers and different types of trade account. And it's important that you have a software platform that allows you to do this. So you can create custom price lists and custom catalogs and personalize the shopping experience by only displaying the content that's relevant to them. If you have tens of thousands of SKUs, then just sending them the same content is going to be totally unhelpful, because they might only be interested in a particular product range. And it's important that you automate this process, because trying to do it manually is going to be nigh on impossible. And the other thing that your customers are going to want is they're going to want to be able to pay in the way that's most convenient to them. So some of them might want to use their PayPal business accounts, others might want to use credit cards, others might want to pay on account. You need to have different credit options for different types of customers. You need to be able to set limits for those customers and restrictions for certain countries or customers if they're not creditworthy, and be able to monitor their credit data and allow them to monitor their own credit data online. So this is going to seriously help you reduce all those sort of call center overheads if you do this. Repeat ordering, obviously, in trade is extremely important, because if they're a trade customer, they're used to buying from you regularly. So allow them to quickly and easily order from previous orders, to place large orders for more than one SKU at a time by uploading spreadsheets to the website, notify them when particular products that they're used to ordering are back in stock, and create requisition lists for them. If they're frequently purchasing the same thing, then by creating requisition lists and notifying them about that through the website and email marketing campaigns and so on, you're actually going to make their life a lot easier for them. We've touched on this already, but it's super important that you understand where your traffic is coming from. If you're anything like the rest of the world, you'll be noticing that your mobile traffic is increasing. So it's really important that you take a mobile first approach and think of your customers' mobile devices as tools that allow them to do their jobs, and make sure that all of this functionality is available to them on any device, irrespective of where they are. And that's how you provide a true omni-channel experience. It's no different from B2C, really, where I might want to go into store, have a look at a jacket, try it on in different colours, go home, have a think about it, go on the website, sign up for the newsletters, wait for that jacket to be in sale or on back order, or, you know, anything sort of promotional around that jacket, and then buy it online. Or I might want to buy a jacket online and return it in store. There's no reason why your trade customers are not going to want to have a similar type of experience. So they need real-time inventory information across your supply chain, and that's really important. So one thing I wanted to touch on briefly is that there's a lot of noise at the moment around speed on mobile and how difficult it is for people to purchase on mobile devices because of connectivity issues. So it's worth considering looking at something called a progressive web app, which is a combination between a responsive website and an app, and it'll effectively allow your customers to buy or experience an app-like experience on their mobile devices. So why is the industry moving in this direction? Well, basically because mobile access to websites is growing exponentially. Most emails are open on mobile devices, most searches are done on mobile devices. According to Google, by this year, 82% of e-commerce sales will involve a mobile device, and mobile commerce is continuing to grow. However, speed is an issue on mobile, as is connectivity. So Google came up with the concept of progressive web apps because apps tend to actually work better because they allow people to transact offline. They use the operating system that they're built for, and they offer extra features like push notifications. However, most merchants aren't able to service their customers through a website and multiple apps for multiple different devices, because you've got to consider the fact that there are iPhones, Samsungs, Huawei phones, etc., and you would need to build an app for every single device. That's costly and time-consuming to update. So progressive web apps are, as a result, going to be the future, and here are all the reasons why you would want to actually take a progressive web app approach, because it kills several birds with one stone, and you can benefit from all of the app-like features without actually having to have an app. Some examples of progressive web apps. Alibaba is probably the most popular one or well-known one in the B2B world. So I would recommend that you take a look at that. They get 76% higher conversion across browsers and 4 times higher interaction on their website as a result of having built this progressive web app, which to their customers looks just like a normal responsive website. So the consumer is not going to, or trade customer is not going to know the difference. One of the final points I want to make is about fulfillment. I touched on this already, but it's really important that you give your trade customers flexibility around how they want things delivered. They want to pick them up or have them delivered to this building site or delivered to the shop. You need to allow flexibility around fulfillment as well, and there are lots of very good platforms that will help you to do this. So by way of conclusion, you basically need to assume that your B2B customers want exactly the same kind of experience that they're getting when they themselves are shopping online for their groceries, household goods, clothing, and so on and so forth. You need to think about reducing your acquisition and retention costs by converting offline customers into online customers. If you don't, your competitors will be. Doing this will allow you to reduce your costs, but also capture difficult to reach, low frequency, low volume customers. And it will also, if you do it properly, provide your sales teams with tools to improve customer service and conversion and make it easier for them to do their jobs and increase average order values. Thank you for listening. Okay, so next up we've got Gavin from dotdigital. He's going to talk to us about how you can maintain good relationship with your existing customers and attract new customers through digital marketing.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, we're going to run through sort of B2B lifecycle marketing as we have on here, 101. So we're covering the basics, making sure you've got everything covered off. But first, a bit of an intro to myself and us. I'm Gavin Laugenie from dotdigital Engagement Cloud, as you can see here. You might know us previously as dotmailer, but we are bigger and better. We essentially have this platform, Engagement Cloud, that enables you to sort of engage with your customers on a number of different levels, connecting with a number of different tools, whether it be e-commerce, CRM, offline, etc. Empowering our customers as well through a number of different things, such as AI, automation, which is what we're going to be talking through today, personalizing and using all of your data, essentially. And then communicating on a number of different channels. Email is sort of the bread and butter, but there are a number of different channels as well that sort of help to make that marketing mix. SMS, social, mobile, etc., etc. Chat as well is another really important one. And we do this in a number of different sort of countries across the globe, and we've got sort of 4,000 customers. So I'd like to think that we know what we're talking about, and we can help you guys. So essentially, today we're talking about life cycle marketing, and really, what is that? And as it says here, life cycle marketing outlines the steps a customer goes through when considering, purchasing, using, and maintaining a product or service. So essentially, we're looking at studying the whole customer journey. First contact with that customer right through to sort of engaging them and keeping them in that funnel with you, and making sure we've got that data to sort of manage that relationship. Looking at sort of recommendations and boosting the performance from start to finish. Now, what's happened in the market is there's a number of different channels that people use, and it's making the sort of the life cycle, the journey of the customer even more complex than before. Every day, people are sort of interacting with you on a number of different channels. Obviously, on a website, through email, across sort of social channels, and on their phones as well. And on their phone means it's either on an app or on SMS. And this has meant that sort of B2B marketers need to change the way they engage with their customers. instead of sort of casting a net as far as possible and hoping for the best, that sort of spray and pray approach, we need to start looking at generating higher quality leads and developing a relationship and sort of leading people down a path to purchasing and repurchasing again and again. And this is a sort of a great stat. According to Marketo, 96% of visitors who come to your website are not ready to buy. Now, it can be a shock to some people, but it's true. So, you need to look at the website traffic you have, look at generating those leads a little bit more, and engaging with people that aren't quite ready to purchase. So getting your visitors ready on your website is a great thing, and then building up that journey, sort of filling up that funnel, and using lifecycle marketing is a great. So if you're nurturing your customers in the right way, you can start to see some really great results. So nurture programs will get between 4 to 10 times the response rate of a standalone sort of batch and blast email, and that's what we want to move away from. And then you get sort of 50% more clicks, and more clicks means you're being more relevant, and that's gonna mean more engagement from people as well. And overall, this will turn into produce an average of 20% increase sales opportunities. And we're a B2B business as well at dotdigital, and we use these sort of tactics ourselves. So this is the stuff that is really working for a number of different clients. But again, holding up our hands, we're using the same tactics, and it's making a massive impression for us too. So with lifecycle marketing, I think there's a number of ways you can sort of approach this, but we have a mantra here at dotdigital, which is think big, start somewhere, and scale quickly. I think that really does work well for lifecycle marketing. It gives us the opportunity to sort of understand exactly where people are in that journey, and really starting to drive home in that lifecycle marketing and make a massive impact with them. So to start off with, we want to think big. We want to get our ideas out there. We want to have an idea shower, and it's an idea shower, not a brainstorm. We're not really supposed to say that anymore, apparently. Being more PC, so we have an idea shower. This is where you get all of your ideas out, and you want to be more relevant. This is why we're looking at lifecycle marketing. Having a full look at the full picture. So why is it important? This is where you sort of understand and speak to your customers and prospects, and start to build a relationship with them, and sending out the right message to the right person at the right time. And it can help to sort of run through these stages quite well, but it's all about being relevant. If your messages aren't relevant, they're not going to hit home, and you're not going to have the impact that you want. Now, I started looking at a number of different ways of sort of assessing lifecycle marketing, and there is so many different examples out there. Some of them will make massive sense to you, others won't. There's like too much going in there. But essentially, you've got to look for the right lifecycle sort of plan or example that works best for you. A lot of these will have loads of different bits of information in there, and it could be overwhelming. But essentially, what you want to try and do is have a look at the journey that your customers are taking. From the initial sort of connection you have with them, right through to purchasing, and as I was saying before, continuing to keep them in a constant loop, coming back to you again and again. And automation is going to be the way you do that. And these are a number of different automated programs, messages that you can start to send out to your prospects and customers in order to keep them in a loop and coming back again and again. So let's look at sort of the basics of lifecycle marketing. Lifecycle marketing 101. What do you need to do? Well, first off, you need to set clear objectives. Why are you making a lifecycle plan in the first place? What are the goals that you're directing people towards? Who's this specifically for? Break down the stages of the customer journey. And I think the three main stages we want to be looking at are acquisition, relationship building, and win back. Next up, we want to list out all of your touch points. Based on the research that you've probably done already, you should know all of the touch points your customers or prospects are currently using, and the ones that you believe should be added into the mix as well. It would be amazing if you can add in both online and offline touch points too. Now, there is a challenge sometimes of sort of looping these up, but you've got to look at, are these people attending trade shows? They come into corporate events. You've got a website. When they land on specific pages of the site, are they coming back again and again and not actually doing anything with it? Thinking about what messages you can send out to them at the right stages. If they're leaving the website too early, there should be an action from everyone's reaction on the website. You can be sending out a specific message to them. So look at all the touch points that are relevant to you. Then you want to define your customers and their goals. Now, this is a weird one because if you haven't thought about this already, like who your customer is and what they're doing, the rest of this is going to be pretty difficult. It might even be a bit of a non-starter. So use what you know about these people already to help build up the journey. And this is where you're going to start to sort of pick up bits and pieces of information, data along the way, to sort of understand who these people are and starting to make a bit of a makeup. And then you can start to understand exactly what messages you need to be sending out to each of these customers. Teamwork does indeed make the dream work. If you guys don't already work with your sales team, then I think you're going to have to. It's key to sort of perfecting lifecycle marketing is to understand exactly the sort of nuances of these journeys. And that means, sorry to some people, you're going to have to work with the sales guys. Work with the sales team, work with support teams, anyone that sort of connects with your customers and prospects and really understands the journey they're taking. That's going to be key to you understanding exactly how people are going to be sort of moving through this journey with you. And then lastly, take the customer journey yourself. If you don't know what the journey is, how do you know if you're getting it right? Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you signed up to receive one of your own emails? Is it an easy process? What's the next stage that you're supposed to be going through? Is someone supposed to be contacting you, or is there an email that goes out? Is there an SMS or a push message? Is there anything that's happening? If you don't have a clue, then your customers won't either. So you should really be taking this journey yourself. Right, now we need to start somewhere. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't even have to be sort of several campaigns or programs or different tactics. You just need to get the ball rolling. So what's going to make the biggest impact? That's what you need to ask yourself, both to you and your customers and prospects. If you have an idea of what that is, then that's where you should be starting. Now, before we were talking about having a sort of a big idea and overseeing the whole thing, with this, you want to start to get a little bit more granular. You want to look at specific parts of the journey and understanding what the little battles are and then focusing on that. This should be where you sort of really get into the nitty-gritty and understanding the different points on this life cycle journey. So you can start to pick this out and look at the different areas. As I mentioned before, you've got acquisition, relationship building, and win back, and those are the sort of areas you want to be looking at on this journey, and that goes for B2B as well as B2C. So you need to look at this. The journey isn't necessarily going to be linear. Some people are going to be moving back and forth between some of these stages, but it's down to you to sort of understand the different pace that people are going to be moving at and the right messages to be sending to these people at the right time. So let's look at these three stages: acquisition, relationship building, and win back. First off, there's acquisition, which is probably one of the most important stages. I sometimes feel like a bit of a broken record talking about this, but welcome programs are really powerful. And as the stats say here, on average 4 times the open rate and 5 times the click-through rate. This is the point where people are sort of really engaged, and you need to sort of use that to your advantage. Now, with welcome programs, For B2B, they might tend to be a little bit longer than we see with B2C marketing. So we need to take into account anyone who is sort of initially welcomed in, then sort of nurturing them a little bit more. Then you might be passing them over to a sales team to kind of bring them on a little bit. And then eventually you're going to get them to make that purchase and convert. So the welcome program is really important here to sort of understand exactly what's going on here, and looking at different stages of this and understanding whether or not you know, 1 or 2 emails is enough, whether you need to add more into the mix. And that's the beauty of what we do with digital marketing. We can assess what we're doing, understand if it's working, and then continue to improve and develop what we have. So let's look at a welcome program here. This is from Tiger Direct, and I do struggle finding sort of great examples of welcome in the B2B world, but this is a really good one. You know, welcome is the first thing we should be doing. We should be saying thank you for actually signing, for someone actually giving us their email address. Is sort of explicit access to someone's inbox. So maybe what we could have done here is collected a little bit more information and used a first name to, you know, make this personalized a little bit more. But this is a great sort of welcome. You know, initially sort of giving someone a first offer and then giving people reasons as to why you should be signed up to this email as well, and why you should keep receiving emails from us. This is the sort of thing we want to sort of springboard from here. So initially, you know, saying welcome, as I said, but then maybe down the line is doing some progressive profiling, picking up some more information about people, what it is they're looking for, maybe how big the company is, and then you can start to tailor the rest of the messaging for the individual. So a welcome program is really important. Then we want to start looking at relationship building. This is where you are sort of nurturing and understanding more about the individual you're sending to. 80% of your company's future revenue will come from just 20% of your existing customer base. So this goes to show that we need to start looking at the contacts we have on our database already, those who are already customers. It's a hell of a lot easier to retain business than it is to go out and get more, sort of acquire new contacts. It's cheaper as well. So this can come in many forms. We're sort of looking at user-generated content, which can come in forms of sort of reviews and bits and pieces like that. Whether or not someone is happy with your service and if they're going to recommend a friend or another business. We're looking at things like anniversaries, like when they first purchased with you. As I said before, progressive profiling, reminders of renewal dates, and all those little bits and pieces can help to sort of nurture that customer that you already have. Increasing customer retention rates by a mere 5% can boost profits by up to 25 to 95%. See, it's a huge gap there, but you know, just by making a couple of tweaks, you can make a massive impact. You know, consider the early stage after the initial sale or the first contact as being sort of the honeymoon phase. At this point, the customers have invested in your company and receptive to engagement. So this is the perfect time to reach out to your customer and make them feel more secure in the choices they have made in sort of buying with you. And in this case, we want to opt for more meaningful communications rather than just generic messaging. No one wants a generic message. You want to be treated as an individual. So this is the type of thing we're trying to do here. But in this stage, you want to start sort of contacting people based on what they've done. So after the purchase is one of the most important times in this sort of period. So sending out a post-purchase or order confirmation is essential. Getting that order confirmation right is perfect. But after that, you want to start asking questions. You know, did we do a good job? We have done a good job. Great. We need to keep doing that. If not, we need to make a change. So as Kate Spade have done here, it's a B2C example, but this doesn't mean that you can't use it in the B2B world. Now, a penny for your thoughts. Maybe it's something here we can do with loyalty and not necessarily giving sort of money off, but just think about following up with the customer after they've made a purchase. In this case as well, we can start to get outside the box and not just use email. After the purchase has been made, you can start to send reviews by SMS if you've got that, and then showing people bits and pieces about when they're going to be receiving their order and how it's going to be delivered to them. Using SMS is a great way of sort of getting into the omni-channel world and using the right channels to connect with the people in the way they want to be connected with. And again, rating and review. Reviews are really powerful here. You can use reviews to kind of gain more customers at the acquisition phase, but also to entice people to purchase again and again. So the example here from AO is really, really great. We've got a Likert scale here. If we're doing really well, they click on 10, and hopefully what we can do there is send them out an email to write a review. If we've done badly, then again maybe we pick up the phone and give someone contact and understand what we've done badly here. Yeah, and these things are sort of really simple to do in Engagement Cloud. You just want to use like a survey or form based on the response, the actual link that someone's clicked on, and then we can have an automated email going back to someone with to fill out a review for good service. Or if it's bad, we can just make a connection back externally using an API call or something to have a call center to give someone a prompt to call the individual. On the side of Adidas as well, this is really great. If you're leaving a sort of a score or a review, actually leaving the product that was purchased within this campaign, just to sort of jog people's memory and then show that you understand exactly what it is they've purchased with you. Next up is win back. Now it's sad to say that sometimes what we do in the relationship building phase just isn't enough. That's quite a sad picture up there. We can try to try our hardest to win back the hearts of our clients, but mostly when this happens in the B2B world, you should have either an account management or customer success that can sort of help you and point out maybe that there's a problem with the relationship, and point out where we're losing the connection with people. It's not always possible to do, so you can use tips and tricks and tools to help you understand whether or not you are losing touch with people. And lead scoring and RFM modeling can be really great for this. And these are tools that I actually think are underused by some of our clients to really sort of understand exactly where people are and sending out the right message to them. So at this point, shouldn't have to explain too much, but if you are losing someone and you're not having the engagement with them, they're not sort of being responsive to your campaigns, then you've got to ask yourself, is it really worth sort of hammering these people? Sometimes you've got to make the decision of letting them go and not contacting them anymore. We've all seen it with GDPR over the last couple of years. I got a few minutes into this without mentioning GDPR, but it's one of those things that people are very aware of these messages that are coming out to sort of re-engage them. Please don't leave us. Is it something we've done wrong? Those types of emails, trying to win back people. But if you're not having that engagement, you do have to make the decision to let them go. Now, as I mentioned before, RFM modeling and lead nurture scoring can be really powerful in terms of helping you engage with your customers. RFM is literally recency, frequency, and monetary. We're using these sort of pointers to understand where people are and sending them different messages. So you could have, as it shows on the left-hand side, a huge chunk of people being inactive. If they're inactive, there are certain messages we need to be sending out to those people. Likewise, if there's high potential or there's people who need nurturing a little bit more, then there's a different message that can be sent out to those people. What we're looking for is for people to be really engaged with what we're doing, being champions, and promoting us to their friends, family, and other businesses. So this is the type of thing we're looking for. But RFM modeling can be very powerful across the lifecycle marketing for you to understand exactly what messages you should be sending out to people. And Sanam, you're gonna have to take out the next slide because I forgot to take it out myself. So with re-engaging people, there are a number of sort of programs you can do here. Now, you should be well aware of, as a customer yourself, a consumer yourself, of receiving sort of birthday series emails. And these are a great way of engaging people and getting people to come back into a fold. We can see here for Old Navy, I love having a GIF in a campaign. It's more engaging. It gets people to, you can remember the business a little bit more by having something sort of memorable like this, and enjoy the example we. And enjoy the example we have here that I think is brilliant is you're remembering the birthday. And in this example for B2B, it could be the anniversary of when they purchased, but using this time to understand whether or not we have enough information on these people. So this joy example is saying, you know, birthday boy, birthday girl, and they're trying to figure out a little bit more about you so they can personalize more down the way. This is a great way of sort of engaging with people. And again, Pizza Express have done this quite a lot. I think it's kind of notorious. Their example here is an engagement on their birthday. Have a drink on us. Can you do, right? That's like on an air conditioning unit. I think that's exactly what it is. So the pizza example.
Say one word and
So the Pizza Express example here is kind of notorious. They give a free drink on them based on it being your birthday. In a B2B world, what we can do here is look at the anniversary of when someone's purchased, and maybe give them not necessarily something free, but you know, look at their loyalty and you know, offer something, maybe a money can't buy type offer. And these are the sorts of things we need to be doing. We have the data on these people. We need to use that data in the right way. So these anniversary dates, use that to send that message out to people at the right time. Right, the sort of last stage is to scale quickly. You know, we've been thinking big. We started somewhere. We got the ball moving. Now we need to scale quickly. At this point here, you're probably thinking you're a life cycle marketing and automation guru. That isn't the case at all. We need to start looking at our life cycle here, understanding if there's programs we haven't been using already. Use those programs and start testing out. And with the testing as well, it's key to understanding whether or not the programs we've got currently running are working. If they're not working, we shouldn't be afraid to sort of make changes, make tweaks, and improve on those. And that's what lifecycle marketing is all about. Understanding the journey, as I was saying, but really starting to look at improving all the way through. So let's sort of break this down and summarize everything. We've looked at three main stages. Thinking big, you know, really getting a good understanding of what the journey is that people are going on. You know, really having some big ideas, blue sky thinking. But then we need to scale quickly. We need to get something rolling. And if anything, really, it should be like a welcome program. So welcoming people into your world and understanding more about them. And then after that, we need to scale quickly. Start looking at the programs that we don't have currently running, and getting those into the mix, and then testing out and understanding what we're doing maybe badly in programs that we currently have running. Making little tweaks to those and always improving all the time. And that is how we really start to nail lifecycle marketing. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Gavin. That's great. So we're going to open for questions now. So Gavin, we've had a question from the audience about automation. You talked about automation a lot.
Yep.
Can you explain to me from a very high level how that works?
How that works in the platform?
Yes.
It's actually very simple. We've got a drag and drop sort of editor for that. Really, with automation, it's as I've been saying in this sort of 101, you want to step back and look at what the journey is completely. You might want to start drawing on a board, a whiteboard, if you've got that, and start thinking about the different phases. But if we look at a welcome, for example, you can literally drag in the first instance of when someone signs up on your website. We collect that email address. We can then instantly send them out a welcome message, and then we start to build that up into sort of nurturing and sort of collecting more information about those people along the way.
So if I understand correctly, the platform will know to send out an email to somebody who has signed up to receive newsletters. If that person then clicks on a link in the welcome email, what would be the next steps?
So again, you can start to add in logic along the way, and this can be sort of as complex or as sort of basic as you need it to be. So if there are people who have clicked on specific links in a campaign, the next stage can be that they receive another email, maybe about a product or something they've been looking at. If they haven't had any engagement at all, we can start to collect everyone that hasn't opened emails and maybe send them something slightly different, maybe for a little bit more of an eye-catching subject line or something like that.
And can you see through the dotdigital platform who's actually clicked on those emails and who hasn't?
Yeah. So there's a number of different places you can see that sort of thing. In the reporting, you get to have a breakdown on exactly what people have been doing, engaging with the campaign, whether they've opened or clicked, which are sort of basic things, but how often they've been clicking, what links they've been clicking on, and then that you sort of translate that back into the automation as well. And as I said, have sort of reactions happening based on what they've clicked or how many times they've clicked as well.
Okay, thanks. We have another question from the audience, which is about how often you should be emailing your existing customers, because there's a big fear factor around inundating them with information, which causes them to then unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Because they just feel totally overwhelmed. So what's your approach to that? There's
a number of ways you can look at this. First off would be the age-old sort of answer is, if you don't have anything to say, don't say it. So you've got to make sure that what you're sending out is relevant for a starter. The other point here is to give the customer, the prospect, the option to make a choice themselves, and preference centers are probably the way to go. And in the welcome phase, that is a great time to sort of give people that option. So what you're trying to do in the welcome is show more about who you are, but learn more about the customer themselves as well. And the only way you're going to learn more about them is by giving them the opportunity to sort of fill out some details. And a preference center can take details on them, like the first name, last name, bits and pieces, but it can also give you a chance to showcase what types of campaigns you're sending out, whether it's going to be sort of offer related, more salesy, more information sort of heavy type campaigns, and you give them the opportunity to sort of choose on that. But on top of that all as well, it's really difficult to sort of say with cadence how often you should be sending out emails, or how many is too many. I think really you need to be sort of going back to this relevancy thing here and understanding what is relevant to the customers. So this is where preference centers really come up top trumps.
So just thinking about that in a bit more detail, is open rates and click-through rates something that you should actually be measuring and monitoring?
This is an age-old question, and I don't know if you've got enough time to talk about this through. Personally, open rates and click-through rates should be a bit of a guide. It's not the be-all and end-all of digital marketing. Open rates definitely can be flawed. if we look at how open rates are measured, it's literally a pixel that is being displayed when someone opens up a campaign. So it's not necessarily intent that someone wants to purchase. If maybe you've got several opens in one particular campaign, it could be intent. But what we're looking for mainly is probably a click, because it's showing engagement. Someone's actually clicking on a campaign and showing intent moving into something. But this maybe comes into the world of sort of implicit and explicit data. You know, someone explicitly tells us what it is they're looking for, then that is something we can use further down the line. But we have an aspect of implicit data as well. So this is kind of like the opens and clicks without making a purchase. They're implying to you that they want X, Y, and Z. So that's something we can use. If we go further down that rabbit hole with sort of implicit data as well, we can look at web behavior tracking. So someone's on the website and looking at particular products. Maybe they've dwelled on a page for you know, extra long amount of time, or they've looked at particular products in a specific range. We can use that information to then send out automated messages about said product or range. So I know I've moved away from opens and clicks, and there's a reason for that. I don't think it should be the be all and end all. We need to use a lot of this stuff you know, together in unison to give us a full picture of the individual, giving us what I like to call their sort of digital body language.
Thanks.
So we've got another question here. Someone asking about data. Sounds like data has been really important coming through all of this, but they're asking, you know, where is it they can get this data to sort of power a number of these sort of tactics that we've been talking about.
Okay, well, so what's really important is that your sort of website is integrated with your digital marketing, so that you can actually use all the data gathered from visitor journeys and purchases on your website and interactions with your website with the digital marketing platform in an intelligent way. So dotdigital happens to actually come bundled with Magento 2, which is fantastic because it means that your agency would not have to actually do any work getting the two platforms talking to each other. The dotdigital is also works very well and plays very well with other e-commerce platforms. So it's important that you choose a platform that actually does have good open APIs so that you can exchange data between the website and the digital marketing platform.
So we've got another question here about the RFM modeling, the recency, frequency, monitoring. I think it kind of connects back to the last question about data, is where you're sort of collecting that from as well. That as you were saying, Sarah, that sort of stuff comes direct from Magento. So as soon as a purchase has been made, we at dotdigital have a connection with that, and we can start to collect all of the purchase information, which helps to power the RFM modeling. And then using that data, you can start to, as I said previously, sort of target people at the right time, but based on how much they've been spending, what they've actually purchased in the first instance, and all of that is helping us to become more relevant and sending out those messages. We've got another question here, which is in around sort of what e-commerce platform to choose. So the question is, yeah, what is the best e-commerce platform for me, and you know, how can I get help on sort of choosing that?
Okay, well, I would say that the first thing to consider is obviously what kind of functionality you want to give to your trade customers. Do you want to allow them to see different price lists based on their customer group? Do you want them to be able to have different credit limits? Do you want to allow them to request quotes? All of these things are really important because not all e-commerce platforms are well suited to B2B. Some of them don't have any built-in B2B functionality. So I would strongly consider using a platform that has a track record in B2B, but also an agency that understands how to address requirements which are specific to trade customers. Magento is a very good platform for B2B and has a strong track record in that field. So I would start having a look at the features available in that platform and then make sure that you choose an agency that specialises in the B2B vertical. At Screen Pages, we specialise in B2B, and we're recognised by Magento as having a strength in that particular field. Gavin, we have another question from the audience, which is from a merchant who has not been doing any email marketing at all to their customer base, and they wouldn't really know where to start. So how can they get some help and get up and running quickly?
I think they're coming to the right place. We can probably both help with this as well. Obviously, our platform is one, very powerful, but very user friendly. We have a setup where we have account managers that help our clients analyze exactly what they want to do and how best to execute it. But I think you guys have the expertise as well, so they can be helped in that respect. But I think a nice combination of the two is where you need to be looking. And I wouldn't worry so much about that. You wouldn't believe how many different clients we speak to who don't quite know where to start or how to progress to the next stage. We are very well skilled in helping clients who are either already established or haven't even made an initial step on this sort of journey, develop different programs and different tactics to engage their customers better. So as I said, yeah, you're in good hands between dotdigital and Screen Pages, I think. I think we'll call that an end now. We've got a lot of questions still to answer. We haven't got time now, so we'll probably come back to everyone individually, or we'll try to. But as we've got so many questions, I think we'll probably do another one of these. Stay tuned for maybe part 2 of B2B e-commerce 101. So it's bye from me, and bye from Sarah.
Bye.